The Indiana Fever escaped with a dramatic win, but the conversation afterward had very little to do with the final score. Instead, it centered on one question that has fans all over the basketball world debating the team's decision-making. Just minutes after the game, comments from inside the Fever locker room began circulating. A player speaking on local radio suggested that the final play wasn't actually designed to give Caitlin Clark the last shot. Soon afterward, another teammate echoed that sentiment during a television interview, fueling an even bigger discussion. So what really happened? With just over 4 seconds remaining, Indiana trailed the Washington Mystics 76-75 in the Commissioner's Cup matchup. The Fever had just watched a 17-point lead disappear, and after Caitlin Clark missed 2 free throws, Indiana called timeout to draw up one final possession. The expectation from almost everyone watching was simple: get the ball into Clark's hands. Instead, the play unfolded much differently. Sophie Cunningham inbounded the basketball, while Kelsey Mitchell curled around as the apparent first option. Washington tried to anticipate the pass, but the defense broke down. Clark drifted behind the logo, found herself completely uncovered, caught the pass, and without hesitation launched a 31-foot three-pointer. Nothing but net. The shot gave Indiana a thrilling 78-76 victory and instantly became one of the biggest clutch moments of Clark's young WNBA career. Normally, that would have been the entire story. But then the post-game comments changed everything. Lexi Hull explained that the original goal of the possession was to draw a foul rather than create a clean shot. That single statement immediately ignited social media. Fans couldn't understand why. In the biggest possession of the game, the coaching staff will reportedly prioritize earning free throws instead of designing a play around one of the greatest long-range shooters women's basketball has ever seen. Hull also clarified something important. She admitted that the possession didn't actually unfold the way it had been drawn up. Clark recognized the defensive mistake. Cunningham delivered the perfect pass, and the players improvised after the original action broke down. In other words, the winning basket wasn't necessarily the result of the original design. It was a result of elite basketball instincts. Cunningham seemed to confirm exactly that afterward with a playful Instagram post that simply read, "We didn't follow the plan. Won anyway." Clark responded with an equally playful message, "Love you, sophomore," to many fans. Those exchanges suggested that the players themselves understood the original play wasn't ideal. Others argued they were simply celebrating a huge win. Either way, the internet exploded with debate. Reports suggested that Clark began the possession as more of a decoy while setting action for her teammates, with Kelsey Mitchell reportedly serving as the first scoring option. If that's accurate, many observers believe it raises serious questions. After all, Clark had already connected on multiple difficult three-pointers during the game, including a 4-point play and several deep jumpers, leaving arguably the league's most dangerous shooter as a secondary, or even third, option is difficult for many fans to understand. This isn't the first time critics have questioned how Indiana has used Clark offensively. Before tip-off, former NBA champion Michael Thompson even compared limiting Clark's opportunities to asking Serena Williams not to use her serve, arguing that elite talent should be placed in positions where their greatest strengths decide games. That criticism only grew louder after Monday night's finish. Some analysts even examined the reactions on the Fever bench after the game-winning shot. Instead of an emotional celebration, many viewers noticed what they believed was a surprisingly restrained response from portions of the coaching staff. Those observations quickly turned into speculation online. It's worth emphasizing, however, that body language alone rarely tells the full story, and brief television clips can easily be interpreted in different ways. Still, the discussion didn't stop there. The Fever have already dealt with reports of internal frustrations this season, including emotional timeout exchanges and conversations about defensive effort and player roles. Because of that backdrop, every interaction now receives far more attention than it normally would. Several commentators place responsibility directly on head coach Stephanie White, arguing that no coach should design the final possession of a one-point game around trying to draw contact when Caitlin Clark is on the floor. Others strongly disagreed. Supporters of the coaching staff point out that basketball isn't always as simple as drawing up a play for one player. Defenses load up on stars, multiple options are built into late game sets, and great players frequently create opportunities once the original design breaks apart. That's exactly what appeared to happen here. Clark recognized the opening. Cunningham made the right read. The pass arrived perfectly. Clark buried one of the biggest shots of the season. From that perspective, the play worked because elite players adjusted in real time. Critics, however, believe the successful outcome doesn't erase concerns about the original strategy. Their argument is straightforward. Making the shot doesn't necessarily prove the play itself was the right one. It's also important to remember the full context. Clark spent much of the night battling foul trouble after picking up 2 early fouls, and officials had called a tightly officiated game throughout. Under those circumstances, it's understandable why a coaching staff might consider creating contact late in the game. The disagreement isn't over whether drawing fouls is ever a smart strategy. The disagreement is whether it should have been the primary objective, with the game's best shooter standing on the floor needing just one basket to win. Clark herself remained measured during her official media availability, explaining that it was a play the team practices and praising Cunningham for making an outstanding inbound pass. Publicly, she avoided criticizing anyone. Privately, fans have continued analyzing every interaction, every social media post, and every locker room reaction for clues about how the team truly feels. Whether those interpretations are fair remains open for debate. What isn't debatable is how much attention follows Caitlin Clark everywhere she goes. Every possession involving her becomes headline news. Every coaching decision is dissected. Every teammate's comment becomes national conversation. That's simply the reality when you're the biggest star in women's basketball and one of the driving forces behind record attendance and television ratings. In the end, there are 2 very different ways to view this game. One side believes the Fever trusted their players. The defense broke down. Clark made an incredible read, and great athletes simply found a way to win. The other believes the coaching staff overcomplicated the biggest possession of the night by moving away from its most dangerous weapon until the play unexpectedly fell apart. So now the question shifts to you. If your team is down by 1 with only seconds remaining and Caitlin Clark is on your roster, do you design the play to create contact and hope for free throws? Or do you clear the floor, put the ball in Clark's hands, and trust one of the greatest shooters in the game to decide the outcome? Let me know where you stand in the comments. And if you enjoy in-depth WNBA coverage, breaking news, and analysis surrounding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, make sure to subscribe because we'll have more updates as this story continues to develop. Now imagine this for just a second. What if Caitlin Clark had missed that incredible 31-foot game winner? There's a good chance today's conversation would sound completely different. Instead of celebrating one of the biggest shots of the WNBA season, fans would likely be questioning the Fever's coaching staff from every direction. People would be asking why the league's most dangerous shooter wasn't clearly the first option on the final possession. Analysts would be breaking down the play frame by frame, criticizing the late-game execution, and wondering whether Indiana made the right strategic decision. Clark's shot changed the outcome, but it didn't completely silence the debate. If anything, it made the conversation even louder. The discussion is no longer simply about whether the Fever won. It's about whether the process leading up to that shot was actually the right one. And in professional sports, process often matters just as much as the final result. Championship organizations don't survive by depending on miracle shots every night. They build systems that consistently put their biggest stars in the best possible position to succeed. That's why this topic continues to dominate basketball conversations long after the final buzzer. Supporters of the coaching staff see things differently. They argue that basketball isn't a scripted performance. Defenses adjust in real time. Passing lanes disappear. The first option isn't always available, which is exactly why coaches design multiple reads into every late-game possession. Sometimes the third option becomes a winning play simply because that's what the defense allows. And honestly, that's a reasonable point. But critics have an equally compelling argument. They believe that when the game is on the line, your franchise player should never begin possession as a secondary or even third option. They argue that one of the greatest shooters in women's basketball should be the centerpiece of the offense, not a decoy used to create opportunities for someone else. Considering Clark's history of delivering in pressure-packed moments, Many believe the offense should naturally run through her when everything is on the line. That's the heart of the debate. And every nationally televised Fever game only adds more fuel to it. But strategy isn't the only storyline here. Team chemistry has become another major talking point. Great teams aren't built on talent alone. They're built on trust, communication, and a shared understanding of every player's role. When everyone is moving in the same direction, success usually follows. From the outside looking in, many fans are trying to figure out whether that's where the Indiana Fever currently stand. Between post-game interviews, social media activity, reactions on the bench, and viral clips circulating online, people naturally begin wondering if everything behind the scenes is as unified as it appears. At the same time, it's important not to read too much into isolated moments. Professional athletes experience intense emotions during games. Some celebrate loudly, others stay calm. Cameras capture only a few seconds out of an entire evening, and those brief moments don't always tell a complete story. Body language can be misleading. Quotes can lose their intended meaning when removed from context. Social media posts often reflect humor or friendship rather than frustration. That's why separating facts from speculation is so important. Here's what we know for certain. Indiana won the game. Caitlin Clark hit an unforgettable game-winning three. The Fever continue battling through a season filled with enormous expectations and constant national attention. Everything beyond those facts deserves discussion, but it also deserves perspective. That's one of the reasons sports are so captivating. Every fan watches the same game, but walks away with a different conclusion. Some blame coaching decisions. Others focus on player execution. Some believe your superstar should always take the final shot. Others believe the correct play is simply whatever the defense gives you. Neither viewpoint is completely unreasonable. One thing, however, is becoming harder to argue against. Caitlin Clark has changed women's basketball in ways very few athletes ever have. Whether you follow the WNBA for years or only started watching because of Clark, you've witnessed the league reach new heights. Crowds continue growing. Television audiences continue expanding. National media coverage has reached levels rarely seen before. Young athletes everywhere now have another superstar inspiring them to dream bigger. That an impact that extends far beyond one dramatic finish or one controversial coaching decision. That's what generational players do. Of course, with that level of influence comes extraordinary pressure. Every missed shot becomes a headline. Every coaching decision becomes a national debate. Every interview gets analyzed. Every social media post is picked apart. Very few athletes experience this level of scrutiny so early in their professional careers. Yet through all of it, Clark continues showing up. She continues making spectacular plays. She continues embracing the biggest moments. And she continues reminding everyone why so many believe her ceiling is still incredibly high. The season is far from finished. Indiana still has plenty of opportunities to prove it belongs among the league's top contenders. The coaching staff still has time to answer its critics. The roster still has room to grow stronger together. And perhaps most exciting of all, Caitlin Clark almost certainly has many more unforgettable moments waiting to be written. History has shown us that the greatest athletes often produce their most memorable performances after facing criticism. Adversity doesn't decide a champion. The response to adversity does. Now it's your turn to weigh in. If you were coaching the Fever with one possession left and the game on the line, what would your strategy be? Would you put the ball directly in Caitlin Clark's hand from the start? Would you trust the offensive system and let the defense dictate the best option? Or do you believe Indiana handled the situation exactly as it should have? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this debate is far from over, and I'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest WNBA news, Indiana Fever updates, Caitlin Clark coverage, player reactions, and in-depth basketball analysis. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay safe, enjoy the game, keep the discussion respectful, and I'll see you in the next video.